scientific basis behind being LGBTQ?
Let's go, girl. So, I mean, I feel like this prompt is very much about someone like me. I think there is scientific basis behind being born in the LGBTQ community. There is like so much scientific basis for someone like myself, and we've existed since the beginning of time, but the media never platforms someone like myself. Like, I can't name one famous intersex person, and I'm an intersex person. Yeah. I think it's mighty time that like we bring intersex voices forward, because I think not only can it help our community, but it can help the trans community with a lot of the struggles of like people invalidating their identity in like their manhood or their womanhood, or their just their personhood, you know?
I think psychologically, scientifically, we know that homosexuality occurs throughout nature. This is not a question anymore. And the idea, welcome, the idea, this language of unnatural, which does unfortunately come from the Bible, is just untrue. Scientifically, we know that homosexuality is a naturally occurring phenomenon in many species and in humanity. And so anybody who's trying to claim that it's not an innate part of human beings is not doing that from a scientific standpoint.
I don't think any animals are asking to be delivered from their homosexuality.
Yes.
And like, if we're gonna come from a religious standpoint, as someone who was religious for the first 13 years of my life, the common saying, God makes no mistakes, I don't think God made any mistakes about
Amen.
me. And also about any of just like my average transsexual brothers and sisters and non-binary siblings, I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that.
DNA cannot predict sexuality. It cannot predict if you're gay. It cannot predict if you're straight. And also too, with intersex individuals, we cannot use the case of intersexuals to generalize the LGBT community.
But if someone could be born like me, why could someone not be born homosexual, bisexual, transsexual?
The psychology is clear, though. There is not a single psychological association in the country that would say that sexuality is something that can be changed. They would say it's an innate reality.
And for gender as well.
Because it used to be, like, they did have psychological terms. Homosexuality was considered to be a disorder.
In the age of Freud, but we've moved on since that.
We've debunked that.
Why have we
ages
moved on
ago.
since that? Was it the gay rights movement?
No, Freud was, science progresses as we get new knowledge. That's how science works.
I believe if you were born with a vagina, you are a woman. If you were born with a penis, you are a man.
What about my
Okay,
two
so
X chromosomes?
you were in war and a grenade went off and you lost your penis. What would your gender be?
Still a man.
Okay, but you don't have a penis. You have no genitalia.
Yeah. Well, that's what God gave me. Whatever God gave you with it, you can cut it off. You can strap it on. Whatever it is, I believe that's still what
So
God
God
made
gave
you.
me
God gave her an
non-functioning
intersex
genitalia
condition.
until
But
I
the
had
DNA
reproductive, like,
But the
Wait,
DNA
Wait,
doesn't change.
I want to ask a
Surgery.
question though. What are, like, if I don't want to be, you know?
No, I'm an open
insensitive,
book, so ask me anything.
But reproductive organs, like, they don't work. Like, do you have a
So
womb?
for me, no, I was born with literally like almost no internal sex organs and non-fully developed sex organs. So when I was born, I basically had a partially formed phallus, but I did not have testes, did not have ovaries, I didn't have any prostate, anything like that. And so when I started going through puberty, I never got very masculine, I never got like a lot of facial hair, but I did grow breast tissue naturally. So like, what do you say to someone like me who's like walking around with breasts, but you know, I literally was never gonna be able to father or mother a child. There's a lot more to the conversation than just like penis man, vagina female, XX this. And like, I have XX chromosomes, but like
XX, that is male.
XX is female. So I chromosomally a female. However, like my condition's called Daylash-Chappelle syndrome, but it's also known by some people as XX male syndrome because like, again, people just associate the penis being there as something to be male, but up to 50% of people with my condition do end up going under some feminizing transition. I'm happy to share my story because I think it's very important. I think it would help a lot of people understand that like, if I can be born this way, why could someone not be born a trans person? Why could someone not be born a homosexual or bisexual person?
Well, I want to apologize for the Christian community because I think there has been a lack of education between gender and then also sexuality. I look at your case and I'm like, man, that's horrible. That sucks. Like attraction, fleshful desires, lust, all these types of things, those are different than gender.
As a believer in the Word of God, I believe that God created a man and a woman. So when it comes down to intersex, I don't believe God is the author of confusion. That's why I don't believe if you have a little breast tissue or you have you're not growing facial hair, I can completely switch over to a female, or I can completely switch over to a male because I have certain male, or I'm a woman and I have a beard. I still feel like what's between your legs, what God has created you, God created man and woman. I don't see any intersex. I don't see any of these things in the Bible.
Wow, that is
That's the word of
so
God.
tremendously dismissive.
Very